Every day I'm shot calling. I'm a spray champagne, make it rain just to let you know.
Yo, what is up, everybody? It's your boys, K.C and Travis here, and we are the Reserves. Now, in this week's episode, we're going to talk a lot about the NFL, a lot about the NBA. Now, Travis, how do you feel now that the NFL season is over? How do you feel about all the coaching moves, especially like all the bullshit with like McDaniels from the Patriots?
I'm not really sure why he wouldn't take the head coaching job. Maybe he just thinks he fits better as an offensive coordinator.
I can agree with you, but I feel he might be the replacement for Belichick, having worked under Belichick for as long as he did, and having two Super Bowls under his belt now. However, they lost this year. It still has some pull, having coached under one of the greatest coaches of all time. But anyways, let's get straight into top 5 takes this week. At number 5, we have the New York Mets landing Todd Frazier. This is huge for the Mets in the aspect of they took him from their cross-city rivals, even though it wasn't a trade or anything. He was a free agent at the time. They took him from the Yankees. It's a huge bat for their lineup, since the Yankees just did add Stanton to their lineup.
So I think it'll definitely help them. I hope that he does good with the Mets, and hopefully he's a good asset that he brings.
The thing is even though Todd Frazier last year only batted .219, he only hit 27 home runs, which is it's about average in the league. 27 home runs it isn't anything to shy at, but .214 isn't the best batting average. However, as a career, he bats .245, which is good, and he has a 40-run home run season last year in 2016. Was 40 home runs, which is good. He's won the batting. I don't think he won the batting title, but he did win the home run derby. I mean, yeah, it's a home run derby. Who cares? Anybody hits home runs in the home run derby. That's why it's called a home run derby. But I think this is a huge bat for this team, and I think he's going to propel them into a better team with their pitching staff hopefully remaining healthy this season. I think there's a lot to be happy about with this deal.
Do you think he's going to carry over the same amount of effectiveness this season as last season?
I think so. Like I said, last year he didn't really hit that well. He only batted .219, or .214. That .214 is still good for the Mets, in my opinion. The Mets were a barely above average team last year. They were awful in their division. After 2 years prior being in the World Series, you have no excuses. And I get it. They don't really have that big of a bat. Their pitching staff was really unhealthy 2016, 2017. But that means step it up. Let's get shit done. It's the Mets. Like, I know they're not that great all the time, but they're still a storied franchise. I feel like they needed this bat in their lineup.
Right. So, guys, at number 4, we have the MLB free agency spring training. Do you think the spring training camp will have players become better prepared for the season?
I think it'll help them. I think it's great that they're taking initiative to have this type of thing for the free agents, being that there's so many of them. However, it will not get them to 100%. It won't. It's not going to get them fully there. They will not be game ready, even though they are professional athletes, even though they are Major League Baseball players, it will not get them 100% ready. And I can only hope that this will edge teams on to do so, to get them deals. As stated last week, with this being prolonged and so on, I really don't want to say it, but what if it leads to a player strike? You know what I mean? What are you going to do? Like, you really wouldn't want another one. You don't want a strike. It kills off fan bases. It's not something you want. You need to keep the fans and players happy.
Right. That's definitely a good point. I think they might become more comfortable with the way they do things and maybe ease into the game a little bit better, but like you said, they won't be 100%.
Yeah. So for number 3, we got to call for the Jimmy G contract. Now, my man's Jimmy G's over here is now the highest paid NFL player in NFL history at $137.5 million over 5 years, which is ridiculous. That's a lot.
So I think this means he's nothing to shy about. I mean, he's 7-0 in 7 career starts, but it's only 7. And I mean, I think all these a little bit above average players are going to start wanting bigger contracts. And
yeah, I mean, if you look at Le'Veon Bell with the Steelers, who, I mean, yeah, he was probably jokingly saying $100 million to play the Jets this past week, but it's like you're giving Jimmy G, a guy who's only played 7 career starts. Granted, he's 7-0 in the 7 career starts. It's 7 starts.
right.
That's half a season. He could go 7 for 8, 7 for 9, and they might not make the playoffs. However, do I think they'll make the playoffs? There's a chance because of Jimmy G,
Right.
but they don't. Who else do they have? Like, they don't have any other huge assets, in my opinion. Nothing that's like, yeah, they're going to the playoffs. Even an 8 seed, wild card, anything like that. Like, I don't think they're gonna make it. Even if they do make it to the playoffs, I don't think they're gonna do well. I don't think they're going to how do I say, prolong their playoff efforts with this big of a contract. Having this big of a contract is too much of a commitment for any team for a guy who's played 7 games. He's the highest paid player. Matthew Stafford, I think, is $127 million. And Matthew Stafford's a good damn quarterback. He's great. He's a great quarterback. In my opinion, Drew Brees is like the 5th highest paid player, which Drew Brees, I mean, I don't know about first ballot Hall of Famer, but
It's Drew Brees.
yeah, it's Drew Brees. Tell me who's better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. There's not that many better than Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. Ben's an elite quarterback.
Yeah.
There's elite quarterbacks, and then there's great quarterbacks, okay quarterbacks, and then there's players who haven't had a shot. Jimmy G's had his shot. He's done great with his shot with the 49ers. He's 7-0, but he doesn't deserve this type of money.
No.
5 years, I can see it, but he doesn't deserve $137 million. That's way too much. Now, one of the big questions outlining this deal is what happens with Cousins now because of this deal? Because that kind of shrinks the market that much more for quarterbacks
Right.
and free agency. How do you think this affects Kirk Cousins?
Well, no matter what team he goes to, I think he's going to want a bigger contract, knowing that some guy that has 7 career starts.
Yeah.
Granted, 7-0 once again. He's getting $137 million. Kirk Cousins thinks he's better than that.
I mean, and granted, Kirk Cousins hasn't had that great of a career, but as stated last week, his passer rating is pretty fucking good.
Yeah, overall.
You're not gonna do much about it.
And I don't think he's going to settle for less than $100 million at this point.
After this contract, it's gonna be hard to get anybody to settle for that. Like I said, Le'Veon Bell, who is probably one of the best two-way players in the league. He's an elite running back, if not the best running back in the league. He can catch the ball, run the ball, anything he wants. But I think Washington hits up Kirk Cousins with a 3rd-year franchise tag. Not a lot of people are going to agree with that, but that's just how I feel. I've been looking a lot into it. If they hit him with a franchise tag for the 3rd year in a row, he'll get a guaranteed $34.5 million from the Redskins, which will exceed their cap space because of the $24 million they just signed Alex Smith to. Which, doing so, means they have to make roster cuts. So if they do offer franchise tag, Kirk Cousins is going to hop on it, quote unquote, screw them over because they're going to have to make roster cuts because they're going to be over cap value. Granted, it might not be the best players on their team, but they're going to have to make roster cuts. They're going to have to cut money down. If they don't, they're going to have to trade somebody, and that first person to go is going to be Kirk Cousins. So it'd be best for Kirk Cousins to get franchise tag, hop on it, screw the franchise over as a whole for this, however long they want to keep him with that cap space, because you can't have Alex Smith and Kirk Cousins. They're both two, I don't want to say great, but they're two good quarterbacks.
Both average.
Yeah, they're two good quarterbacks. They're not elite. They're just below great. They're good quarterbacks. They're really good quarterbacks. Don't get me wrong. But you can't have both on the same team. Kirk Cousins needs to go somewhere. If they offer the franchise tag, they got to take it. He signs it, and he gets traded. Best option now that he's a free agent.
And also about the Jimmy G $137 million. If the 49ers want to make it deep in the playoffs, they need to add more players. They can't just depend on Jimmy G for that.
That's very true. That's very true. They don't really have much.
And after this contract, it makes you think how much cap space they're going to have left.
It's very true. I completely agree with you. their cap space. I'm not sure. I haven't looked into their cap space, so I don't want to say too much about it. But with Jimmy G, like, that's a huge contract. Even if it's not that much this year, it's 5 years. Do the math. It's still a lot of money for 1 year for a guy that's only made 7 career starts.
All right, guys. So at number 2, we have this week's St. John's upset. They started the season 0-11, and they have upset the number 1 Villanova team and the Wildcats this past week. The Wildcats saw their 54-game home winning streak come to an end against this team.
That's insane because starting 0-11 in any conference division, anything you do, like, think about that. If you went 0-11 in the NBA in your conference to start the season, you're probably not going to win the division.
You lose hope.
Like that. Yeah, like, and these kids, I mean, they're our age, a little bit older, a little bit younger for me, and the resiliency of this team is phenomenal. To go from being 0-11 in their conference, yes, they might not make the tournament this year. There's a lot of speculation if they will, but starting out 0-11 in the Big East is a huge thing. But to upset 2 top-ranked teams, especially the number 1 team in the nation, Villanova, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like, you can't look at these guys like, oh, they're 0-11. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, granted, they're 2-11. They just upset the 2 biggest teams in the league.
Now, do you think that these 2 teams may have underappreciated this team being 0-11 and didn't bring their full potential?
100%. Like, you look at an underdog team anytime, they're going to be underestimated. But, like, just like if you go to state championships, if you go to the NCAA tournament and you're like, oh, I'm the 1 seed, he's the 16th seed, it doesn't matter. He's in the tournament. If they get in the tournament, they're in the tournament. Just like a couple of years ago when U Albany made it, yeah, it's U Albany. They're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Same thing with Stony Brook when they made it. They were 16, 15 seed, but it doesn't matter. Don't shy them. They're in the tournament. It's still St. John's. St. John's is still St. John's. It doesn't matter. To have the resiliency to beat these 2 teams and to not give up after starting 1-11, giving up on the season, their conference, and everything like that is huge. It shows what kind of spirit these people have, these kids have, the coaching staff. Rule number 1, never give up, kids.
So do you think in future matchups with these teams, they're going to be well prepared?
Honestly, I hope so. Like, there's nothing else you can do, you know what I mean? I hope people start taking them seriously. Like I said, it's St. John's. There's nothing different about them. Every 4 years they get new players just like every other team. Every year kids leave, every year kids come. But it's still St. John's.
Right.
You can be an underdog for all you want. Anyways, guys, this week's top take is we're going to have to go with the NBA trade deadline this week. It's a pretty big deal. Travis, I got a question for you. What the hell is going on in Cleveland, dude?
Watch your profanity. Right, I'm sorry.
So let's start out with the Isaiah Thomas trade. The Cavs gave away Isaiah Thomas, a first-round pick, and Channing Frye to the Lakers for Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance Jr. I think this trade is awful. It makes no sense. It really doesn't.
When I say what the hell's going on in Cleveland, I mean it, dude. This trade, like, I mean, I know Isaiah hasn't been great, but for God's sakes, the guy just came off a freaking hip injury. Like,
yeah.
It's gonna take him more than half a season to get ready.
You gave him 17 games. He's 7-10.
But it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Look at the Cavs season as a whole, and you're gonna be like, yeah, it's his fault. It's his fault. It's his fault. Just like Amon Shumpert, I believe, went 0-6 the night before and jokingly said, "Don't go over 6 or they'll trade you," which is funny, but. Well, what do you expect? Like, yeah, Isaiah Thomas 7-10 while he was on the team, but it's like, what do you expect? They're coming off of back-to-back championship.
Right.
Granted, they only won 1, I believe, correct? The Cavaliers won 1 championship out of 3. I'm not mistaken. What are you gonna do?
Right.
Like, it's expected. Even if you like it, it's part of the business. I don't believe it was the right move dealing these 2 players, let alone all the people they dealt. Such as this leads into the 3-way deal that dealt D Rose and Jay Crowder to Utah and Shumpert to Sacktown. The best part about it is, like, Utah waives D Rose. They didn't even want him. They just wanted Jay Crowder apparently.
Well, which Utah did get a pretty good deal. They got Jay Crowder and got rid of Joe Johnson, but
yeah, but Joe Johnson's pretty good. Jay Crowder, don't get me wrong, is good too. But D Rose, like, he's an MVP, youngest ever. I get it. Like, yeah, there's a lot of skepticism with him playing games and injuries and all the jokes. Oh, I'm gonna go Derrick Rose. You know what I mean? But it's still D Rose. He's still a good player. He's still, I wouldn't say among the top point guards. He hasn't been for a while, a couple of years. But it's still D Rose.
Still a decent role player.
Granted, it's Utah. They've been having a decent season.
Yeah.
But it's still D Rose. And now the Tims are going to try to pick him up. If the Tims pick up D Rose, watch out. They're already a quality team. I think they pick up D Rose, they get that extra piece. Granted, even if he doesn't start for the team, D Rose off the bench is still phenomenal.
Yeah,
D Rose is D Rose.
Yeah. They would have Jeff Teague at the starting point guard, then Derrick Rose coming off the bench.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Even vice versa, Jeff Teague, one of the most underrated point guards. And I say that because around here, upstate New York, you don't hear about Jeff Teague. It's Utah Jazz. You know what I mean? You don't hear about him. But
It's pretty filthy.
D Rose is household. It's Jeff Teague is phenomenal. Same thing with Kemba Walker. I used to love Ricky Rubio. I mean, I hated him, but I loved him. Like, he was that good. But it's just, if he goes to the Timbs, it's that extra step.
Right.
Even at Utah, if he stayed at Utah, it would have taken that extra step with Jay Crowder. But now they lost the other asset. Now it's all new. You know what I mean?
Right.
So with all these Cavs trade, it's all new. They're going in a week before the All-Star break, and it's a whole new team. It takes in the fact of, if you have Jay Crowder there with D Rose, even if they're not in the same part of the lineup starting and bench and starting, whatever, it still gives you that little click in chemistry. They've worked together for the past year. It clicks.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They've worked together half a season. It's better than nothing.
Especially for the Timberwolves, I think they're definitely going to pick him up. Tom Thibodeau is the coach. He coached Derrick Rose and Jimmy Butler in Chicago. They're all going to have a decent chemistry. D Rose and Jimmy Butler when they're on the floor together.
I agree. I think D Rose is going to be a huge asset if the Timbs pick him up. Even if they don't, Timbs are still a great team.
Yeah.
You can't shy anymore. It's not the league it used to be. Yeah, it's
the Timberwolves.
Yeah, it's the Timberwolves. It's not just the Timberwolves. You can't look at the Timberwolves as people were looking at St. John's per se.
Right. I think Tom Thibodeau as well. He knows what happened with Derrick Rose. He's been there his whole career, so his minutes are definitely going to be on restriction. He doesn't want to take any chances if this happens. So I think it'll be good for D Rose being healthy as well.
Agreed.
So guys, and that leads into the Dwayne Wade trade. Another really stupid trade by Cleveland. Dwayne Wade for a second-round pick. I mean, he's 36 years old, but he still gives you 12 points, which is a career low. But it's Dwayne Wade.
12 points is 12 points.
Three-time NBA champion.
And I get that, and I see we're saying, oh, it's D Rose, oh, it's D Wade. You know what I mean? It's still Dwayne Wade, but you're right. He's 36, but 12 points is 12 points. You know what I mean?
Right.
Granted, he might not be what was best for Cleveland, in my opinion, but the chemistry between him and LeBron was enough to keep him there.
That's what surprised me the most.
When they got rid of him, you can tell when these deals were made. Even if LeBron had a say in it, it didn't matter. They were going or not.
Right.
When the night before, less than 24 hours before Isaiah Thomas got traded, he said, I like this city, I want to stay, I'm sick of being traded. He's only been traded once, now it's twice. Him on the Lakers, not a good fit in my opinion.
No.
Dwayne Wade going back to the Heat, not a good fit in my opinion. It's not where he belongs. He should have retired in Cleveland. This year should have been his last year. Even if they didn't make the playoffs, even if they won a championship, whatever. This year or next year should be Dwayne Wade's last year. People don't like to hear that because people like Dwayne Wade. I like Dwayne Wade.
Nobody wants to see a great.
He's 36. He's hitting his flat. He's hitting his flat. He's hit his flat over the past few years. He's gonna fall off. Do it before you fall off. Everybody plays as long as they want. Vince Carter, who's 41, is in 19 seasons, going to be 20. But you can only play so long. Vince Carter he's one of the greatest dunkers ever. Don't get me wrong. He still dunks. But he's not who he used to be, you know what I mean? He hits 20 seasons just like Dirk. When they hit 20 seasons, it's probably going to be over. 20 seasons is a long time in any sport. People will say, oh, it's just basketball. I can play basketball for 20 years. No, you can't. It's more than just dribbling a ball up and down the court. I don't care. I never played basketball at the team level, but I've never looked at a sport as,
oh, it's just this.
Yeah, never. Any athlete is an athlete because they're there. Any athlete is an athlete because of how they train, because of who they are.
Right.
You're not just in the NBA because you're just in the NBA. You're in the NBA because your work ethic. And if Dwayne Wade is 45, still in the NBA, Vince Carter's still 50 in the NBA, if he's still putting up 10 points, guaranteed, yes, it may be a career low, it's still 10 points. Even if he comes off the bench. Right. If he's still good enough to be that type of athlete. Look at Jaromir Jagr over in the NHL. I believe he just turned 40 or 41. The guy's been in the league like 20 years almost. The guy's killing it. It's hockey. You're getting obliterated every night. And you're
risking injury.
Yeah, like he's in the league. But that's the type of person he is. Rock the mullet. Go out there on the ice. Skate your ass off. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. I love it. I love his determination. I hope D-Wade stays in the league. But this trade wasn't for him. He shouldn't have went to Miami. Isaiah shouldn't have went to Lakers. It's not a good fit. Even if he makes them do well, this opens the door for the Lakers to land LeBron, Paul George, any huge free agent this year.
Right.
A lot of people don't want to see LeBron leave Cleveland. If he leaves Cleveland, he's not coming back. They will not accept him. I don't care. He's not going to leave the same city twice. It's his city of Cleveland, the land. They're not going to leave.
Right.
The Trashland Cavaliers will not accept LeBron James if he leaves. They will truly become the Trashland Cavaliers. That's what they will be. Trend that.
So as for the Lakers, with Isaiah Thomas going to be their leading person, do you think it's going to be good for the younger guys coming up as like Kyle Kuzma, Lonzo Ball?
Yes, no. Yes, because it's IT. He's a great point guard. Yes, he lacks on defense. Yes, his scoring's been off this year. Yes, yada, yada, yada. But no, because they have totally different types of play.
Right.
Lonzo, Kuzma, everybody on that team has a totally different type of play than Isaiah Thomas.
Isaiah Thomas is, I think, 28, 29. He's not that much older than these guys. So,
but granted, yeah, look at age, too. But he's still a veteran.
Yeah.
Isaiah Thomas is a veteran. He's always been looked at as you're too small. You're not good enough. The kid just came off a freaking hip injury. Give the guy a break. He's 7-10 over the last 17 games, and it's not his fault. Look at the Cavs the rest of the year without him. Not that great. 7-10 with him. What's their overall record? I'm not even sure because the Cavs are so booty this year. They're just straight pooper cheeks. There's nothing else to say. They're pooper cheeks this year. It's one of the biggest stories in the NBA. Make all these moves in the offseason. Get rid of Kyrie. And you go from being 1 seed to at this point, people viewing you as you're probably not even going to make the playoffs. Even if you make the playoffs, 6, 7, 8 seed, and for Ty Lue to sit there and say it's whatever, we're still definitely going to make the playoffs. Yeah. No, you've been to 3 straight NBA championships. That should not be your goal, and I get it. Every team goes through their dynasty. Every team goes through their heyday. I've read in the studies that say teams go through 7 years and then they have to rebuild. Is the average of go 7 good years, 7 years of rebuild. Whether those are 7 good rebuild years, they're still competing or not. It's how it is. But if you look at the Cavs were booty. They're good now. And now they're booty again. Like, it wasn't 7 years, but they go through their runs. Every team does. I grew up a Raptors fan ever since I was little. They've been pooper cheeks forever. Straight pooper cheeks. Nothing but little fucking dingleberries, dude. And there's nothing you can do. And now they're good. And I say good in quotes because we're 1 and 2 seed, but we can't win in the freaking playoffs. But it's still, every team goes through it.
Right.
There's nothing else you can do.
So for the Cavs now with this new team, do you think their expectations are still just make the playoffs? Or
I think their expectations are just make the playoffs. It's, in my opinion, 100% rebuild. These kids, no chemistry. Like I said, a week before the All-Star break, and these people are changing teams. Like Larry Nance Jr. is in the dunk contest. Larry Nance Jr. is a great player, don't get me wrong, but it's going to take more than a week to get chemistry in. They're going to have to work their ass off at practice. They have no idea. I know they know who people are, obviously. They're in the NBA. They know each other. But there's nothing there. There's nothing. You don't even know, just like I said, when Derrick Rose went to New York, just like I said when he went back to Cleveland, everything like that, you don't know if they're going to mesh well. Right. And if you look at Cleveland, they didn't mesh well. What makes you think this is going to go? Right. Dwayne Wade isn't going to be able to go right back into the Heat.
A bunch of players all around the league coming together for just one team. It's like an AAU.
Yeah, it's like all of a sudden, like, just like the NBA All-Star Game, how that was done this year it's dumb. It shouldn't be like that at all. There shouldn't be draft picks, let alone it shouldn't be televised. That's dumb. It's just another way for the NBA to make money. But it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be, I want you, I want you, I want you, I want you. Even though LeBron has that type of pull over the whole league, not just Cleveland, he has that pull over the whole league. It shouldn't be like that. If I was the GM, I wouldn't sit there and say, yep, we'll make this move for you. We'll get rid of this, you know what I mean?
So, guys, that wraps up that. And for our final take, we're going to do the Super Bowl recap. Thankfully, the Eagles won. Praise to them.
Literally.
Screw the Patriots.
That's probably the most important part is that the Patriots lost. We're having a little malfunction with our sheet here, but we're just going to keep running it because why not?
It felt like the Patriots did in the Super Bowl.
They wrecked. R-E-K-T. Wrecked.
So, is Tom Brady still a go after this? Plain and simple.
Tom Brady. And people say Joe Montana is the greatest. We talked about this the other day. Joe Montana, the greatest quarterback of all time. You hear Colin Cowherd say it. I have never looked at Tom Brady as the GOAT. Ever. I've never looked at him as the GOAT. Or Joe Montana. It never even occurred to me like Joe Montana is the greatest. Ever in my life.
For Tom Brady, I've always looked at him as super elite. He is a nasty
Player,
quarterback.
yes.
He can read a defense.
But whereas you look at the NBA, and you're like, Michael Jordan was the greatest of all time. And now you have players competing with that, like LeBron James. Right. Is he the greatest of all time? All this other debates that go on. Basketball and baseball are the only two sports where I sat down. If you look at hockey, yeah, Wayne Gretzky, he's literally the greatest hockey player ever. If you look at stats as a whole, he holds so many NHL records. But if you look at baseball and basketball, it's always been Michael Jordan, Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth was not the greatest player. He wasn't even the greatest player of his decade.
Right.
And granted, he was a great player. He played for the best team of the decade. Right. But it doesn't mean he's the best. Right. It doesn't mean he's the greatest. Michael Jordan, there's players that have played better than him. Outscored him, out-rebounded.
Have more championships.
If you want to go off championships, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you want to go off scoring, Kareem, you know what I mean? Kareem would be the best player if you go off scoring. Ever. Right. Greatest player ever. 37,000 career points, I believe. Like, he'd be the best. Tom Brady, he's went to 8 Super Bowls, and he's lost 3. I get it. It's not all about championships, but I get it. Tom Brady is a great quarterback. He is top tier elite. He is top 5 quarterback ever to play. Don't get me wrong. But no matter who you ask, it's always going to be a different top 5. Top 5s will always change. Right. Top 5s will always fluctuate, just like burger places, dude. Like, you have your favorite burger place, you go to the next burger place, that might just top it. But the next time you go to another burger place, it's like, nah, that one's the best. Yeah. Like, you're not going to, you can't beat it. You can't say somebody's the GOAT. I don't care. Nobody's the GOAT. Yes, LeBron. Yes, Michael Jordan. They're great players. They're top tier elite. There is Mount Rushmores. You know what I mean? Everybody has their Mount Rushmores of each sport. But you don't think people go to Mount Rushmore and say, I don't think he belongs there. I think he belongs there. I think they need to add to this. Yeah. I think they need to put something.
This should be changed so he can be here.
Yeah. No matter who you ask, it's going to be different. Right. In my opinion, he's not a GOAT. So there are no GOATs.
Right. So between Tom Brady and Nick Foles, my biggest thing, Tom Brady can't catch a ball.
That's the best part.
But he's a GOAT.
Not even that. Not even GOAT. Best athlete of all time. Colin Cowherd said if he wins this Super Bowl, He becomes the best athlete of all time.
Yep.
The boy can't catch one ball. One ball.
It's right here. You're in the NFL,
I
man.
get it. He's a quarterback. He doesn't have to catch.
Doesn't matter.
It was a great play. And if you look at it, the next drive, the Eagles did it.
Yep.
I mean, Nick Foles, I would say he's more athletic because of Tom Brady's age.
Yeah.
Tom Brady's size, his stature isn't as good as Nick Foles. Granted, he's probably built better, but he's 40 years old. It does not matter.
Can't do it anyway.
I get it as one catch, but you can't call somebody the greatest athlete of all time. And
When he
can't
screws
catch,
it up when it
can't
matters
catch
the
one
most.
ball. Can't catch one ball on the stage.
Right.
Biggest stage in football.
Yeah.
Super Bowl 52. He can't catch one ball.
In that same play that
Right.
the Eagles ran, do you think that was, I don't want to say game glitching, but
Better executed.
give him that
It was
other motivation?
It was 100% better executed. It was 100% gave them the mental edge. Not necessarily over Tom Brady, but over the Patriots defense was like, well, what the hell? They can stop it. Why can't we?
Yeah. I want to run that play Madden, by the way. I got to figure out what.
We got to figure out how to do the audible.
Might YouTube that later.
You know, tight end stick, hashtag max protect.
Right. Hashtag L1.
Now, more importantly, over all of this, the Patriots dynasty, which you can say it's a dynasty, it doesn't need to be in quotes. Everybody's using quotes. It's Patriots dynasty. The past decade or the past 5 years. Granted, they've lost 3, but they've won 5 since 1999, I believe, or 1998. They've won 5. It's a dynasty. Granted, a dynasty is supposed to be 4 championships over like 10 years. It doesn't matter. It was a dynasty. Do you think it's over? And why do you think it's over?
I think Tom Brady's dynasty is over. I don't think the Patriots is, because given a lot of quarterback, you're not going to do much at all. Doesn't matter if you have the greatest defense.
Yeah, given this loss, not just to Tom Brady, but the Patriots.
They still have a great offensive coordinator, great coach, great defense, great people on the offensive end.
Given this, and I'm not saying it's Philadelphia's dynasty time. They won 1 championship. Relax. It was a great team. People looked at them as underdogs all year, and they're the only first number 1 seed to be looked at as an underdog. But it doesn't matter. The dynasty's over. It's time to move on to the next team. They can have the best team, the most money. Look at the Yankees. They are the best team every year. You know what I mean? It's the Yankees. Everybody likes the Yankees. Just like everybody likes Golden State. Eventually, they're going to fall off. They go through their rough years, but they make moves and they'll come back. But the dynasty is over. It's no longer considered a dynasty. You're 5-3 over the last 8. That's not 5-2. It's a dynasty. 6-2. Hell of a dynasty. 5-3. It's over. You've lost 3 out of the 8. Granted, you're still above 500, but 5 or 8. You know what I mean?
Right.
5 or 8 in baseball.
Hashtag Giants fan. You know what I mean?
Hashtag fuck the Giants.
All right, so we're just gonna move on from that.
All right, Travis. So the Hall of Fame class, huge. It was a big class this year. A lot of people made it. Who do you think was, quote unquote, the best? Not that you can really compare these guys who were inducted. Who's your favorite inductee?
T.O.
T.O. for sure.
T.O. Should have been done a long time ago.
That's a fact. I agree.
Should have been done. Waited too long. Too
That's
long.
100%. I 100% agree.
Hands down, T.O.
See, I gotta go like Ray Lewis, Randy Moss, just because Ray Lewis tenacity. Yeah, a lot of people didn't like him. There's skepticism what he did throughout his career, but it's Ray Lewis. Like first ballot, Randy Moss, phenomenal player.
I mean,
one of the best receivers ever. You can't argue it. But
T.O.
I agree. I can agree. It waited too long.
I mean, they're all of the same.
Yeah, you can't put these players on the same level. The only thing you can do is put them in the hall together. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can't compare these players. That's like comparing.
Yeah, you can't put them in line. You can just put them in the hall, put them in the order, and put that playlist on shuffle. You know what I mean?
Squad. Hey.
All right, guys. So now, as a recap, where a lot of teams failed and succeeded, who do you think was the biggest underachiever, and who do you think was the biggest achiever?
Biggest underachiever? I mean, people are going to be mad because they still made... It's... You start out fire. Straight fuego. and then you
Mucho
poop cheeks,
fuego.
and then you poop cheeks. How do you go from fuego to poop cheeks? Flaming buns. You can't. They don't.
I think they need a new head coach. I think they need a new offensive line. They have enough talent on the offensive end.
Who's their quarterback? Now that I think about it, who's their quarterback? Alex Smith is gone. What they signed? It's just clicking me. I don't remember hearing they signed anybody.
All right, perfect. We were
All right, so they need a quarterback.
perfect.
However, people are going to say the Eagles, they're the most overachieved team. They exceeded expectations by far. It's not mine. You know what I mean?
Right.
Jokingly, I'm going to say the Browns because they overexceeded their expectations. They did go 0 for 16. Nobody thought they were going to.
Right.
It's not underexceeding their expectations. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can't underexceed 1 and 15. You at that point you overexceed being trash. At that point, you overexceed being booty cheeks.
Booty cheeks is too good for that.
Yeah.
That's too good of a term for that.
Yeah, you can't overexceed 1 or underexceed
Right.
1 and 15. You can only get worse at that point, and they got worse. There's 2 teams ever, and they're one of them. And I get it. It's Cleveland. They haven't been good in a while, but jokingly, they are my overexceeding team.
Right.
My for real overexceeding team would probably be, I don't even know because I don't want to say the Eagles, but the most obvious team is the Eagles. They went from being, oh, I'm going to buy a beer for everybody team if we win the Super Bowl, as one of their players said. It's now they're the Super Bowl champions. Where's all the beer?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Travis Kelce, phenomenal speech this week.
Nasty.
Hilarious. The outfit, top notch, can't beat it. A1 sauce. He just did great. We're having plenty of malfunctions this week, squad.
All right, guys.
Go
So,
ahead and pick that right up.
so for the underachievers, definitely the Cleveland Browns win at least one damn game. Like, come on, you're in the NFL.
It's the Cleveland Browns. How do you have this many picks? I get it. Look at the 76ers in the other league. I don't mean to interrupt you, but it pisses me off because they're in my division. I hate it. You're 0-16. You're 1-15. Win more than 1 game. You have top picks. You have everything. Your coach is not that bad. Your playbook is great. You look at the playbook in men, and I get it. It's men. It's nothing. It's not real. But if you look at their playbook, it's one of the best playbooks in the game. If you look at their playbook as a whole, if you look at their offense, it's great. They're nothing too shy at. They're nothing that says we are an 0-16 team other than they don't execute. They can't win games. They cannot win games.
And my biggest achiever is the Eagles. I mean,
It has to be.
week 15, Carson Wentz went out. Your top quarterback, top 3 in the league right now.
Yeah.
He's gone, and Nick Foles steps up big time.
Yeah, like what's going to happen with Nick Foles? There's a lot of skepticism. Is he going to get traded? Is he going to start?
Yeah, he's going to
My
get a bigger
opinion-
contract.
My opinion, he shouldn't start over Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is a more athletic quarterback. But I think the best opportunity
Against the Patriots,
would
though, he
be-
better start.
That's fair. He should definitely get traded. I think the Eagles should shop him, get a lot of assets. Then I think they would definitely be Super Bowl contenders for a couple of years. If they shop him, get a wide receiver, get so on and so forth, he definitely becomes an asset for them in the trade market. Put him on the trade block, you'll get offers. I promise. You put him on the trade block, he might not be happy because he won a Super Bowl for the city. Fans won't be happy. But if Philadelphia puts him up on the trade block, he will go somewhere.
But business is business,
He
and
will be worth something.
Nick Foles is my man at this point.
I agree. He's the boys. Shout out to the boys. So Travis, even though I really don't like doing this at all, I hate these. I hate seeing ESPN do these, but we're doing it because why not? Everybody does it. These are our way too early playoff predictions. Who we think are going to the Super Bowl? Who we think is going to win in the Super Bowl? Who do you think is going to go to the Super Bowl? Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl? Who do you think is going to overachieve and underachieve next year?
Vikings are going to the Super Bowl. They're going to win the Super Bowl. They should have this year, and they didn't because the playoff drought came into play. They weren't prepared for it.
I agree.
They just weren't
I
prepared.
see where you're coming from. I don't want to say they're not prepared. Like, the Vikings were a good team.
Yeah.
They were a great team this year. And they were the closest team to ever hosting the Super Bowl and almost getting there.
Right.
There's never been a team, ever. And they were the closest to ever do so.
Would have been nasty.
Yeah, to play in Minneapolis, you know what that would have meant to the city. You know what that would have meant to the fans. Even if they lost, you know how loud that stadium would have been?
Right.
The stadium was loud with Eagles fans.
Right.
You could tell it was an Eagles crowd. Imagine that as Minneapolis, you know what I mean? I would definitely say in the Super Bowl, I don't know, NFC's tight now because you look at the Eagles.
Say the right answer. I'm holding it up. Say the right answer.
I'm not saying. I want to say Minnesota's going to be in the Super Bowl just because. But I also want to say it's not going to be Minnesota. It's going to be the Eagles. If the Eagles shop Nick Foles, they will be in the playoffs. They will be making it.
They're going to get someone that's above average.
Nick Foles, Super Bowl MVP.
Against the
clutchest player in playoff history this year. You can't look at any other player over the past 5 years and then like, oh, somebody was more clutch. Their number one quarterback got injured, and he comes up and he kills everybody. Super Bowl
Annihilates.
makes the greatest catch by a quarterback. Like
it was nothing. Like he's been here before.
Yeah, there's nothing you can say. You know what I mean?
He played like he's been in the
If the
Super Bowl.
Eagles shop, he's going to be on the NFC in the Super Bowl. If the Eagles shop him, the Eagles will be in the Super Bowl.
I hope they don't shop. I hope he stays on the team.
But I don't want to. I do, but I don't because I don't want to be on bench. I don't want to see Carson Wentz on bench. They're both starters. I don't care. Nick Foles was a starter before he went to the Eagles. They're great. They're both great quarterbacks.
Carson Wentz is just flat out
Minnesota. If they don't, Minnesota's going to the Super Bowl. I don't know who's going to win because AFC is so tight. Jaguars are a team to be reckoned with. Trust me, I know. Hashtag 2 losses. Hashtag get your shit together. Rip me. But yeah, Eagles, Minnesota. Don't think Patriots will make it next year. I don't. I hope not. I don't think so. That's just me. And it's not because I hate the Patriots, because I don't hate the Patriots. And I don't hate Tom Brady. I don't hate Belichick. But it's time for that. It's time for them to move. Just like Cavs and Warriors. It's time for them to move on. Let other teams have a chance. You know what I mean? I get it. You're both really good teams. But it gets boring. That's why you lose ratings. That's why people don't watch the NFL anymore. Ratings are down by like 2 million people. It's like, it's because the Patriots are always there. It's like, all right, I'm just going to stop watching because it's always the same teams.
I want to bring up something he notices the other day on Madden. Why isn't Belichick in Madden?
Yeah. What the hell's up with that?
If anyone knows, drop a comment and let us know, because
I feel like he's sourpuss, you know what I mean? Just didn't want to be in the game. Same thing with like Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley has a good reason not to be in 2K, though. Charles Barkley didn't want to be in 2K because 2K wouldn't take his money. So like for being in the pregame show, Charles Barkley wanted to donate his money that he got from his salary directly to former players who are having financial trouble.
Right.
Which is a great cause. 2K told him, no, we're not doing that. But, so Charles Barkley obviously isn't in the game. But why didn't Charles Barkley just take his paycheck and here you go? You know what I mean? Like, what does it take? What does it take to have your own initiative? You know what I mean?
Right.
So, as for playoff predictions, Eagles, Vikings, Jaguars, definitely going to overexceed. Browns are still going to be bad because, come on,
I pray they get a win.
I hope they get 2 wins.
Look at this though. 0-16. They're making room for improvement.
Yeah, dude. Put it this way: they win 1 game, progress. Next year they win 2 games, progress. I mean, then you get into a little bit of trouble because then you got to win 3 games. But let's not go that far. All right, guys. So that concludes this week's episode. We hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like and subscribe and turn on notifications for YouTube. Also, leave comments of any questions you have, anything you want us to talk about in next week's episode. Also, don't forget to go like and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Be sure to turn on post notifications for that. It'd be great if you did, because then we, can get the word out a little bit more about it.
Remember, guys, I'm Travis. This is K.C. and we're the Reserves.
And never forget, 1 phrase,
6 words.
been ballin',
Still ballin',
stay ballin'.
Tell a hater get up on my face. Yeah, I've been ballin' since like yesterday.